Learning German can be challenging, especially when you encounter verbs that split apart in sentences. These are known as separable prefix verbs, and understanding them is the best way to start mastering German sentence structure. So let's start by talking about what are German separable verbs. Separable verbs in German consist of a prefix and a base verb. The prefix modifies the meaning of the base verb, and in certain tenses and sentence structures, it detaches and moves to the end of a clause. For example, aufstehen, to get up. Ich stehe 5 Uhr auf. I get up at 5 in the morning. In this sentence, auf is the prefix, and stehen is the base verb. The prefix auf will move to the end of the sentence, and the base verb will be conjugated. Let's look at some separable prefixes and their meanings. Knowing the meanings of these separable prefixes can help you determine the meaning of compound verbs. We have some frequently used separable prefixes along with their general meanings and some examples. Ab. This means away, off, down. An. This means at, on, to, or the beginning of an action. Auf. That means up, open. Aus. Out, off, from. Ein means in or into. Mit, with or along. Nach, after or afterward or towards. Vor, before or forwards. Zu is to be closed. Zurück means back. So by getting familiar with these prefixes, you can better understand and predict the meanings of some verbs that you don't already know in German. You can get this list of the 20 most common used separable verbs at mygermanizedlife.com. I'll link that post in the description below. Our first verb is aufstehen, to get up. Einkaufen, to shop. Fernsehen, to watch TV. Mitkommen, to come along. Anrufen, to call on the phone. Aufmachen, to open. Zumachen, to close. Abfahren, to depart. Ankommen, to arrive. Ausgehen, to go out. Einsteigen, to get in. Aussteigen, to get out. Mitbringen, to bring along. Vorbereiten, to prepare. Zurückkommen, to come back. Abschreiben, to copy. Anmelden, to register. Aufhören, to stop. Einladen, to invite. Nachdenken, to think about. These separable verbs can enhance your comprehension and communication skills in German. So let's talk about our next topic, when and how to separate a verb in German, because some German verbs have separable prefixes and others have inseparable prefixes. Mastering the separable verbs in German, die trennbare Verben, means you gotta understand the rules of their separation in various grammatical contexts. The separation of the prefix from the base verb depends on the tense, the sentence structure, and whether or not you have auxiliary verbs. Let's start with the present and simple past tenses. In main clauses, using the present or simple past tense, the separable prefix detaches from the base verb. The conjugated verb occupies the second position in the sentence, and the prefix moves to the end. For example, ich stehe 5 Uhr auf. I get up at 5 o'clock. Here, auf is separated from stehen and comes at the end. Der Zug fährt pünktlich ab. The train departs on time. The structure remains the typical German word order, where you have the finite verb in the second position and the separated prefix at the end. Next, we have commands in the imperative mood. When you're issuing commands, the separable prefix also detaches and the prefix goes to the end of the sentence. For example, steh jetzt auf, get up now. Mach die Tür zu, close the door. This form emphasizes the action and maintains clarity in the directives. Next we have perfect tense, perfect. So in the perfect tense, the past participle of separable verbs is formed by inserting ge between the prefix and the base verb. Let's look at an example. Ich habe das Fenster aufgemacht. Ich habe das Fenster aufgemacht. I opened the window. We have auf, ge, and macht, our stem verb. I opened the window. Ich habe dich gestern angerufen. I called you yesterday. Sie ist früh aufgestanden. She got up early. Here we have an auxiliary verb, haben or sein. This is conjugated, and the past participle appears at the end of the sentence, maintaining the separation within the participle itself. Next, let's look at infinitive constructions with modal verbs in German. When separable German verbs are used in conjunction with modal verbs, können, müssen, wollen, the infinitive form of the verb remains intact, and the prefix is not separated. Let's look at an example sentence. Ich möchte morgen früh aufstehen. I would like to get up early tomorrow. We've conjugated möchten, and aufstehen is in its infinitive form at the end. Remember, the German verbs are either in second or last position in a sentence. Our next example, du musst die Tür zumachen. You must close the door. Stays together in the infinitive form at the end of the sentence. Next we have infinitive constructions with zu. In constructions that use zu, zu, ohne zu, zu is inserted between the prefix and the base verb, and the entire verb remains at the end of the clause. For example, ich versuche, früh aufzustehen. I try to get up early. Ich habe vergessen, dich gestern anzurufen. I forgot to call you yesterday. Sie hat vergessen, das Fenster zumachen. She forgot to close the window. This structure is common in subordinate clauses and infinitive phrases. Next, let's talk about the future tense, Futur 1. In the future tense, formed with the auxiliary verb werden, and the infinitive of the main verb, the separable verb remains intact and the prefix is not separated. So if we look at a sentence, ich werde morgen früh aufstehen. I will get up early tomorrow. Sie wird das Fenster zumachen. She will close the window. In these examples, werden is conjugated and the separable verb stays together in its infinitive form at the end of the sentence. Now let's talk about questions. In yes or no questions, the conjugated verb comes first, and the separable prefix moves to the end of the sentence. So for example, kommst du mit? Are you coming along? Machst du die Tür zu? Are you closing the door? And for questions starting with who, what, where, when, why, the question word comes first. Then you'll have the conjugated verb, and the prefix will still move to the end. For example, wann stehst du auf? When do you get up? Warum machst du das Fenster zu? Why are you closing the window? Understanding these separable verbs helps you master the German language. By familiarizing yourself with common prefixes, practicing regularly, and paying attention to sentence structure, you'll gain confidence in using these verbs in your German sentences. Remember, you can always practice more at mygermanizedlife.com. Lots of the pages have free exercises, free flashcards, and all kinds of lessons to help you improve your German. Bis bald, German learners. Auf Wiedersehen.